we have the wonderful Kevin Harrington here with us today. And we just want to give you a little bit of information about Kevin. Kevin was the original shark on the hit TV show Shark Tank, the creator of the infomercial, pioneer of the As Seen on TV brand, and co-founding board member of the Entrepreneurs Organization. Kevin has pushed past all the questions and excuses to repeatedly enjoy 100x success. His legendary work behind the scenes of business ventures has produced well over 5 billion in global sales, the launch of more than 500 products, and the making dozens of millionaires. 20 of his companies have each topped £100 million. That is absolutely incredible. Please, can you all put your hands together? I know you're all muted for Kevin Harrington. So Kevin, if you'd just like to unmute yourself, that would be absolutely awesome.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. I'm unmuted. All right. Hey, thank you for that. It was great to hear all that good stuff.
No problem.
You didn't know how successful you've been, eh?
You know, it's been too many years. You forget about some of it. You know, I'm going to be, I've got my 64th birthday coming up. So I'm an old entrepreneur nowadays, right?
You don't look it, that's for sure.
You look amazing. You look amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. I started 40 years ago, and, you know, I finally figured it out. It took me a little bit of time, but, you know, it's been a good run. And I opened my first office in London. Tell you a couple funny stories. My first office was on Dean Street in Soho. And I'll never forget, I looked it was a nice street. We're in a lot of advertising agencies and media companies, movie companies, et cetera. And I get in my office, I look out the window right across the street, and there was like this peep show place. Okay. It's like, and that was my view in my London office, but we were there we opened 1990. We went up on, at the time it was called W.H. Smith Television. And believe it or not, they shut off at 6 p.m. They had 4 channels, and at 6 p.m., they didn't want to compete against the BBC. So I said, well, you know, I'll tell you what, I'll just take that downtime from you from 6 p.m. on, and they came back on at 6 a.m. So I had 12 hours a day on 2 channels, and we were just crushing it. But this is what happened. We're running and running and running. We're getting all these calls from France and Italy and Germany and Spain. And I'm like, well, why is that? We're just on W.H. Smith Television in the UK. Oh, no, we're up on Astra Satellite. So I said, you mean we're being seen all across Europe? They said, yes. So I said, well, how do we communicate with them? Because it's in English. We put audio tracks out with the video signal. This is 1990 now, 30 years ago. So one video went out, 8 separate audio tracks. So in Germany, they pulled the German track down. Simultaneously, the whole continent, everyone was seeing it, the one video, but there was 8 different languages. And so we ended up moving over to Soho Square, and we had about 80 employees there in London. And I ended up selling that company as we went public and had a transaction at a later date. But it's, you know, today it's a very vibrant market. All those channels up on the what do they call it? The EPG, the Electronic Program Guide or something. So it's, you know, it's been a good run doing business over in England. But of course, then you had all the other opportunities for the other markets. But anyway, thanks for having me today. Just a quick little story about my entrance in I used to go over every month for about a week a month. Just really fell in love with London. And it's the melting pot of the world. And we've had a lot of good success there.
Yeah, definitely. And you were involved with the George Foreman Grill as well, weren't you?
I got involved in when I first met George Foreman. Let me step back. So when I go back to one of the first things that I ever did, it was a product called the Ginsu knife with a gentleman by the name of Arnold Morris. And he was cutting to a Coca-Cola can. And so we started in the kitchen category. So we did all of the stuff with Arnold Morris. We probably had 24 infomercials with Arnold. Then I met Billy Mays, at a trade show. We started doing all the Billy stuff. Then I met Tony Little. Then I met Jack LaLanne. Then I met George Foreman. I actually have a new product with George Foreman right now, and it's actually I got to see if I have one handy. It's a pain cream. I have stuff behind me, but it's called the Knockout Pain Cream, right? Because there's a guy that was used to a lot of pain from his fights. So George is George, and I know his kids real well. He's got 5 sons named George Jr., George the third, the fourth, etc. But George made a fortune on selling products on TV. And so, I mean, look, COVID has been a little crazy for many of us. Last year, before COVID, I traveled over 200 days, 80 plus events. Now, since March 15th, for like 4 or 5 months now, I've only been out of the state one time for 2 days. And I'm sure you guys are probably in similar kind of lockdown situations there. Yeah, but I will tell you what's happened for me, just a little good news, is that that when COVID first hit here in the States, people were home because they weren't working. They didn't, don't go outside, just stay home, right? So now you've got tens of millions of more people at home. And what are they doing? Watching TV and on their computer. So now you've got a huge increase in the audience. But so you've got the audience going like this, and then the advertisers were going like this because they're not promoting concerts. There's no concerts. They're not promoting restaurants. They're all closed. So what happens is it's the people in the middle like me that get that I'm buying the time super cheap because the advertisers are gone and I've got triple the viewers. We're crushing it right now. We had some of the best months of our life in the last 90 days. Now it's getting a little, a little more back to normal a little bit, but it's, at tough times, some people do fine, and so, I know we've been talking about getting together on this chat here. And so just wanted to share some thoughts, but go ahead, you guys. I know you had some questions for me.
Yeah, brilliant. Listen, first of all, thank you. And your time is precious, and I'm grateful for your time today. I just wanted to ask you, you were on Shark Tank. Did you know how big that show was going to be when you first started on there?
I'll tell you the funny story. No, I didn't. And the very first segment that I did when we brought in, we were shooting the pilot because we had no TV deal. So when I first got brought in, I said, well, where's the show going to air? They said, well, we don't know. I said, we don't have a deal. We're just going to shoot a pilot and see what happens. So there was no guarantee that the show was ever going to even see television. So, but the crazy thing is, I'm sitting there. The first group that comes walking out is a guy from my backyard. I'm on his advisory board. I'm like, he's coming in to pitch something. And I'm like, I know this guy. He's, I'm part of his company. And they didn't even know that through the whole, because it was a brand new show. And anyway, make a long story short, once we got the distribution on ABC network, ABC is a network. It's like BBC there. Okay. Yeah. Then I knew it was going to be pretty powerful, but initially the ratings were good, but they weren't through the roof. And the reason being, I think if you look at like when Dragon's Den first started, and Dragon's Den is owned by Sony. It's the same company that owns Shark Tank. It's similar formats. When Dragon's Den started in Canada, wasn't doing well, but it took the third, the fourth, by the fifth year, it had taken off and it was one of the top shows in all of Canada. How about Dragon's Den in England? I don't know. Did it start strong or did it start slow?
Yeah, it gets about 5 million viewers that see Dragon's Den. It's the Apprentice gets more viewers here, The Apprentice, because Lord Sugar.
Right. And so, but we, what's great about Shark Tank, there's Shark Tank versions all over the world now. I go to Australia, there's Australian sharks. I was just in Mexico right before COVID in February, and there's sharks from, there's Mexican sharks on TV there. So in South Africa, Sao Paulo, Brazil. You know, Shark Tank is now a kind of a franchise around the world, and pretty cool. And Dragon's Den's in a few countries also, I know.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's popular. Who was the most outstanding person you've met on Shark Tank? Do you have any memorable people when
you thought, oh, they're the best?
Wow,
they're amazing.
Opportunities there you invested in?
Well, I'll say this. One of the products, and I have different reasons why I invest in different things. So this lady came out, she gave an unbelievable pitch, and she had a cat toilet training product. She called it City Kitty. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen that segment or not, but what she does, she says, litter boxes are dirty. They cost a lot of money, litter every month. Throw your litter box away, and I have a product that will teach the cat how to jump on the toilet and go to the bathroom. And I thought, if she really has this could be amazing. So she comes out, she shows a video of a cat running into a bathroom, jumping on the toilet, going to the bathroom, getting off the toilet. We all broke out laughing. Now, I did that deal, and I did it because I said, this is going to go viral. And this is Shark Tank, a new show. We're going to get it on TV shows. So I did the deal, put up the contracts, the money, the this, the that, became a partner. And we started with her. We got her on the Today Show, Good Morning America, The View, all these. It just took off. And this thing did tens of millions, over 10 million at the time. I don't know how much now, but it is an amazing success. And they whenever you see any of the list of the top products from Shark Tank, it's always in the top 10 because it made sales, and it was one of the funny ones that went viral and was seen all over the place.
So that brings me on to the next question, Kevin. Obviously, that's the power of your network and the power of obviously your knowledge within business. How important do you think it is for networking? Because obviously we're a networking company. We absolutely love what we do, and we believe 100% in networking. What's your opinion on it?
I'm 100% same opinion. I mean, one of my organizations that I was a co-founder of, you may have heard of, it's called the Entrepreneurs Organization, EO. We're one of the biggest networking organizations in the world. We're in 150 cities, 55 countries. We have a big London branch there, but almost I go to Bombay, I see the EOers from India. I go to Shanghai, we're there, we're pretty much everywhere. But it's not just networking that we do there at EO. We also give you a board of advisors. And so when you join EO, you have a chance to get these mentors that will mentor you on a monthly basis to business success. So I believe, you know, I go to, again, before COVID, I used to do about 25 trade shows a year. The houseware show, the hardware show, fitness show, beauty show, toy fair, golf show, keep going. I'm there. I used to keynote speak at these events, et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, now I'm not going to any, the biggest one of the year just got canceled. The CES show in Vegas, Consumer Electronics Show. I was keynoting at that show. It's in January, but it's only August, but they've canceled it. And so the world has changed. And I think, I'm sure you guys have adapted the networking styles to create some virtual opportunities now. And I think this is one of the trends.
And I think, you know, we just canceled all ours today. We had 5 shows booked in this year. We're over 10,000 people planned for the expos, all wiped out this year, and we planned them for next year. But you have to transcend, and we've transcended our business online now. And the good thing about it now is all the world's best entrepreneurs are all sat at home. They can't go anywhere. But also, how do they get out there? So our strategy for us is to bring them on in the UK so the world can see them, and this is brilliant. So that's why our clients want us and be seen and meet these entrepreneurs, so they're learning so much from, which is amazing, which is so important.
Now, you've obviously shared the stage with many entrepreneurs. Do you have any particular favorites that you could?
Oh yeah. So I mean, Richard Branson. He's an unbelievable guy. You know. Yeah. Actually, after hanging out, he invited me to come to Necker Island, and I spent 3 days with him, and we had one-on-one time. breakfast,
amazing, isn't he?
dinners, and he, you know, in fact, you know, he's got beaches there and tennis courts, and it's an amazing place. But one day we were there. It was a Halloween weekend, and there was we had a couple other guests from another group that were there, and we ended up doing sumo wrestling on the beach. You know, so it's like. You know, people ask me about Richard Branson, and I say, he's a gem. Tony Robbins, I've known for many, many years, been involved with him. And let's see, I'm trying to think of some of the others. So do you know Russell Brunson?
Yes.
Yeah.
ClickFunnels?
ClickFunnels. I knew Russell. Russell and I were wrestlers back in high school. And of course, he was 30 years younger than me. But Russell, I met Russell long before ClickFunnels. We were working on some stuff together. I like Jay Abraham, Joe Polish, and I'm just trying to think of some that you guys might know over there. But yeah, I mean, it's fun hanging out on stage with the right people. Les Brown has been a friend of mine for many, many years, and we've been on stages together.
He was on with us a few weeks ago, wasn't he?
He's a
lovely.
superstar.
Yeah, absolutely.
Superstar.
Yeah, he's got his new book. He talks about getting hungry. Right?
Yeah, that's what I said to him actually. You gotta be hungry.
Yeah, I love that.
We love that.
He's an absolute legend. And also, aside from that, you've written one of your books inspired by Zig Ziglar. We had Tom Ziglar on a couple of weeks ago.
Yes. Oh yeah. This was, in fact, I mean, it's an amazing story, and thank you for mentioning. Tom has written the foreword here, but I'm going to share with you something else though, because he may have been talking. One of Zig's biggest books was Secrets of Closing the Sale, and this is the new version of it with Kevin Harrington. I have 18 chapters in this book, so it's done. But now Tom introduced me to a mentee of Zig's, and his name was Mark Tim, and Mark and I both were mentored by Zig Ziglar. So we wrote a book on mentoring, and I'll tell people how they can get an advanced copy later, but it's called Mentor to Millions, and it's how to get a good mentor in your life, how to find them, what to expect from them, how to be the best student, et cetera, et cetera. So Tom Ziglar is an amazing guy, and a good golfer too, by the way. So
nice.
We've had a good time. Played some golf the last time. He was here in St. Pete recently, right before COVID again. So
So when you went to Necker, did you play tennis with Richard?
I did not. I'm not a big tennis player. He actually, you know, I am a golfer, and I'm one of 6 kids, and one of my brothers he's the tennis player. I'm the golfer, and my other brother is the business executive in the corporate world. But he has beautiful tennis courts there. Yes.
Well, I didn't play tennis when we went in December, but I loved being in the cabana, you know, in the bar area. That was nice, and sitting on the sofas watching that.
Was it redone when you were there? The new Necker?
Yes, because we only went in December, and the other thing I loved is the giant turtles of his. He got beautiful turtles and flamingos, doesn't he?
Did you go on his boat?
No.
The catamaran? Oh yeah,
we were on his boat, but we were not with him, but we did go out on a catamaran.
So yeah, I think there's some great people out in the marketplace, and so I mean, one of the things that I'm doing, actually, talk about virtual, I'm creating Shark Tank style events, and maybe this is something Paul, and it's Tracy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So what we do is we get a panel of sharks, and now we take pitches, and these are so why not, it's something you could do right on the internet. You don't have to be face to face, and there could be prizes and all kinds of things. But put that in the back of your head, because I've done a few of them now, and we're getting really good reception, because for corporations even, it's ideation that the employees can come in and pitch a new idea for the company, and this is working. Brilliant. We're having a lot of fun with it.
We'd love to help you with that, and I'd love to get involved doing something, because what is it you love about entrepreneurship? What's your big thing that you can say, oh my God, there's that one thing that I absolutely love getting up out of bed for. What is it that motivates you and inspires you with entrepreneurship?
I mean, I have a quote, and this was the gentleman that I used to study, Paul J. Myers, who's since gone from the world, but and this is how I live my life. Whatever you vividly imagine, ardently desire, sincerely believe, and enthusiastically act upon must inevitably come to pass. And so that's basically saying if you can see it and believe it and you want it and you act upon it, and that's where most people fail. I believe you can get everything you want in life, but you have to put the system in place.
Yes.
And that last step is people say, oh yeah, I imagine it. I want that big, Rolls Royce or whatever, but they're not willing to work for it. They're not willing to enthusiastically act upon it. So I wake up every morning believing that there's going to be something new and exciting that I'm going to get involved with. And it's interviews like this. Who knows? There's somebody listening maybe that's got the next big idea. But, I'm investing right now in about 15 to 20 new projects a year.
Wow.
And so, I have, the good news is, some previous investments have built up and paid out, and I just keep plugging it back in, right? So I had one the other day. It's an energy drink called Celsius. I got involved with this company, the startup company, when I joined 5 years ago. Company was doing $2 million a year, and the stock was 10 cents. It had gone to 20 cents a share, and just this week, it's now $1 billion company. Wow. And the stock is over $20. So I'm one of the founders, have a lot of stock, and it's like, those are the days that you love when you have, for 5 years, I never sold a share, but it's like, hey, it's time, take a few chips off the table. So, and when I take the chips off the table, I'm ready to reinvest back into more deals. So if you guys have things over there that we might be interested in, obviously let's keep the doors open.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
And I'll talk to you later. We're looking at doing a world summit with Richard and Les and all those legends you just mentioned.
And Tony Robbins.
And Tony. Oh, yeah. I'll get you involved in that in November. But listen, I'll tell you what, should we hand over to our members and
just ask 2 questions if that's okay, because I know we've only got 30 minutes.
We've got some questions from our audience. And
who would like to ask Kevin a question? Sorry, I've got to put my glasses on. I can't see now.
Yeah.
Who wants to ask?
I tell you what, Tony. What about Tony Clarkston? She's a global sales girl, and she's absolutely awesome. And she's just, funnily enough, we just launched we're launching it tonight. A mastermind group, and she's our first client today. So Tony, would you like to say a few words if you'd like to unmute yourself, honey? Is she there? Yes.
I wasn't expecting that, Tracy.
Go on, go for it, Tony.
Hi, Kevin.
How are you doing? Good to see you.
I was not expecting that at all.
You're on the spot, okay?
On the spot. No, honestly, Kevin, it's been a fantastic session. And I am the first member of the mastermind group within Introbiz. But what I really, want. Can you hear?
Yes, we can hear you, Tony.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. What I really wanted to sort of get a better understanding of is when you were first starting out in business, what was the key that brought everything together for you? What was that moment that made you realize that actually, this is all coming together, right, and I'm going to achieve the goals that I'd set?
That's a great question, and I'll tell you exactly when it was. So I'll admit, when I first started, I was really good in sales and marketing. When I was in high school, I was knocking on doors, selling things, ride on my bicycle, put it on the side, knock on the door, close the sale, make the money. I was 15 years old. And I did that for 5 years through college. And so I got to be a little cocky on the sales and marketing side, but now building a business and running a business you can have sales and marketing, but what about operations, finance, and all the things that keep the company solid, right? Because if you're selling, but you're not installing, or you're not this, you're not that. So I built one of my businesses up, and my accountants highly recommended that I bring in some very top level finance people to help, because we were growing and it was crazy. And I was like, no, I don't want to spend all the money on finance people. We don't need that. But I fought them, and we ended up having some real challenges. And so what happened was this: we got to a point where we needed to raise money to grow the business. And because I'm in the product business, you can't put a show up on TV and tell people it's going to take 3 months to ship you your product, because if I didn't have the inventory, you had to go make it and all that. So I said, hey, I got a successful business. I'm going to go raise money. I went to 5 banks, and I got no, shut down, don't come back, not even friendly, because I didn't have any assets to pledge against the money I wanted. I was looking for $3 million. So finally, I'm like, my business flatlined. And then one day I said, my accountants were right. I need to get the finance guys in here. So I was in a networking event, Chamber of Commerce, and I said to the head guy, I need a good finance guy. Do you have anybody here that you recommend? He's like, hey, there's a guy over there. He used to run a bank. He's retired. You may be able to talk to him. I get talking to this guy finally, and he said, he does a deep dive just quickly, verbally, and he says, you talk to 5 banks? He says, I'll tell you what, I'm going to make you a deal. I will get you $3 million. And he said, I'm not going to guarantee it'll be from one of the 5 that turned you down, but I think I can get it from one of the banks that turned you down, because I know 2 or 3 of those guys. So, and he said, I'm going to do that absolutely free, cost you nothing, $3 million in your account. And you know why? He said, because you're going to come back to me and say, you don't want to do business without me, and now you're going to negotiate a deal for me to join your company. And I said, wow. I said, that's an amazing deal. We shook hands on it. He did it. 90 days later, from one of the banks that turned me down, I had $3 million in the bank, and I made him my COO, but he got a little bit of equity. And now he came into my company and he said, we're going to put a dream team inside your company. We're going to bring in the best legal. We're going to bring in the best CFO. We're going to bring in the best of this, the best of that. And we went from 50 million to $500 million. And I would have never done it on my own. So my whole point here is it happened for me when I realized I'm not so smart. I need to surround myself with the experts, and I call it creating the dream team. And that's what I did.
Absolutely.
And I do it with every company.
Thank you for asking that, Tony. Can we have one more question?
Matt Saltis.
Thanks, Tony. And Matt Saltis, over to you, Matt. Now, Tony was actually mentored by Grant Cardone, and Matt Saltis. Okay,
yeah,
Matt Saltis
I know Grant.
Is also involved with Grant.
One more, and I got to run.
Okay, Matt.
Anybody else?
Hey, Kevin. Good to see you. It's Matt here. I met you actually a couple of years ago over at Clearwater. So it's funny you brought up the book, Secrets of Closing the Sale. If you made me record. Yeah, awesome. Thanks. I had a quick question for you. I've been following you the last couple of years and all your recent successes. I was curious to know actually what have been some of the biggest wins in terms of sectors, or maybe you can share a couple of the businesses during COVID. And also, what are some of the top traits that you're seeing in entrepreneurs through this time as well? Okay.
I'm going to have to be short because I'm back to back here today with stuff, and I've got a podcast starting also in like 1 minute. But the biggest, there's a couple sectors. I just mentioned my energy drink. I might have one of those here, but nope, I don't. Celsius. That company prior to COVID in February of this year was a $200 million business. Now in August, we've gone to $1 billion. Now that's market value. So we're over $1 billion. And so that, I mean, I got a big chunk of the increase in the process. Now, beyond that though, anything that's direct to the consumer, all of my direct to the consumer engines are firing on all cylinders because of what I was talking about. Many more viewers, fewer advertisers. So our Amazon business is crushing it. Our all of the businesses where we use funnels like ClickFunnels, we've had a really good 90-day run. And obviously anything PPE has been big, from masks to sanitizers to this to that. You know, so we have lots of different things that we're focused on in that arena. But I do need to say goodbye, and I appreciate it. I recognize your face. It's good seeing you again.
Thanks, Kevin. That was awesome.
One more shameless plug. Go to kevinmentor.com. Support me if you can.
We will do.
We will do.
Amazing. kevinmentor.com. And Paul and Tracy, Matt, good seeing all you guys.
Thank you so much, Kevin.
Do it again some other time, but tell me about November, okay?
I will, yeah. We'll catch up. Take care.
Okay.
Thanks,
Guys.
Take care, Kev. Bye
Enjoy
now.
that hot weather. I love it.
I'll send you a copy of my book as well as a thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.